Hello again, Michael Freeberg here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I have two new products to review. The first is a shaving soap from Prohibition Style. I know the label says triple butter, but that's kind of a placeholder label. It is in fact the 5 butter shaving soap. This is the sidecar scent, which is rum, sandalwood, and citrus or lemon. I'll show you the soap in a moment. The manufacturer, the vendor, does make very clear on the website that in fact you do need to pre-soak this soap. It is a very hard soap, kind of a dense soap. I have some water that's been sitting in here. It says to soak it for at least 10 minutes with warm water. I have actually tried lathering this both ways, with and without soaking. Pre-soaking definitely makes a big difference. So there's the soap. I've sort of tipped out all the water, which I'm not going to use as a pre-shave. Soap is soft. You can see now already a little soft on the top. It is very slick when you first get it. Before you've soaked it, it is very hard and dense with a kind of an interesting kind of slip or oily feel to it. The scent is, at least in this tin for me, yeah, it's still pretty mild. And I get a combination. It's mostly the kind of the cedar wood and the lemon is really what comes out there for me. All of these are named after sort of Depression era cocktails. So today's razor is going to be another gift. It is, well, this is going to be clearly a family heirloom because with this kind of workmanship and just attention to detail, I think this will be passed on to certainly my grandchildren, if not beyond. It is the Dorco PL602, which is a two-piece razor from Dorco from Korea. I'm just going to show you the head here. It's two-piece. The handle has the base plate affixed to it. It'll just slip in and screw in. I'm going to be using a Bosch Cod, which I've been using. This is the fourth shave. No, this is the fourth shave on that. It does come with 2 Dorco blades. These blades are made in Vietnam. Perfectly serviceable. No issues with those either. Is it a fantastic blade? No, but it definitely got the job done. So I've just put the blade into the cap, and as you can see, there are tabs at either corner, and hope you can see that at the end, there is absolutely no room for the ends of the blade to stick out. So the end portions, the end caps, are completely covered by a plastic tab that extends far beyond the head. So I'm just going to start screwing this in. Once you get to a certain point, you sort of hold both parts of it and then just screw in the handle. Carefully, don't overdo it. You'll hear the blade sort of jiggle a little bit. There we go. Now, I hope you can catch this on the camera, but there are 2 small dots on the handle there, either side, and then there's 4 posts on the top of the handle there. So if you screw this in all the way, you're going to be getting a very mild shave. And as you can see, end caps are completely covered with these plastic tabs that extend beyond the edge of the head. Blade is significantly curved, and there is a lot of coverage, particularly in the corner here. And we'll talk about that when it comes time to shave certain parts of your face. So if you want to make this a little less mild, what you can do is you can actually loosen it up a little bit, a half a turn or a quarter turn. So, which I haven't done before, by the way. This is the first time I'm going to be changing how aggressive or how not mild this blade will be, razor will be. I'm just going to turn that knob a quarter turn just past the next post, just a little bit past it. We'll try that for today and see how it goes. All right, let me wet face again. Let me say that again. Let me wet my face again. And then start to lather. Today's brush is going to be the Rodneep Lignum Vitae. Now, I know for the person that was asking about how I maintain this brush, as you can see, there's a bit of a green tint. That's totally normal for the Lignum Vitae wood. So there's an oily, sort of a natural oil that it will exude, and then that turns green in the light. So all you really need to do is just on occasion, just use a cloth or a towel just to rub that oil back in again. The wood remains completely impervious to water. As you can see, I hope you can catch it on the camera, the grain on this piece is really absolutely just stunning. I just love this brush, and I also love this handle style. Whether you get this in a short or a more extended, sort of this longer version, I really like the shape. Easy to hold, just very, very classic retro look to it. All right, let's get lathering. So I have tried to lather the soap both with and without the pre-soaking, and pre-soaking definitely makes a big difference. And they recommend a dry-ish brush, not too wet. Now, a relatively slow loading process, just sort of let it go 30 seconds, maybe a bit more. Now, you should also note, by the way, that this is not going to create kind of an immediate creamy lather. Like every soap I've used for the last, a year, you get almost an immediate kind of high frothy lather. You're not going to see that here. You're going to get what looks like kind of a thin, a slightly oily or fatty lather that's going to coat the brush. I'm going to add a bit of water to this. I would agree with the assessment, by the way. This is probably not the best choice for a brand new wet shaver because this soap does take a bit of skill or a bit of work to lather. And if you really don't know what you're doing, I think you're going to find yourself pretty frustrated at the beginning. It definitely lathers great. You just have to know how to do it. So you can see there, it's starting to get a bit more of a kind of a watery, like a thin coating. All right, that may well be enough for pass one. I have definitely been loading in between passes as well. All right, let's see how that goes. There we go, and if need be, I'm just gonna load a bit more. Yeah, as I said, scent strength, at least out of this container, definitely mild. Distinct, but certainly pretty light, at least compared to many of the other soaps I have. Keep working that a little bit. Yeah, for the 5 butters, it's shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter, olive oil, and soy. Emphasis here is on slickness and sort of post-shave skin quality. All right, I'm just going to continue just to wet the tips of the brush a little bit. I'm just going to keep loading. Yeah, and that's starting to build up again a little bit in the container now. There we go. I'm going to add a bit of water in just a moment. Yeah, I think there's been some an additional scent released, again, still based on a cocktail. I don't think I've ever had a sidecar, but the description of it sounds pretty good. Well, we must be getting close because there's lather falling off the brush. I'm going to add just a touch of water. Yeah, there you go. You can see right away starting to build up a bit more of a dense lather. I've never gotten like a big, thick kind of Father Christmas lather out of this, but you really don't need to because it is very nice and slick. All right, now let's see how we get on with that Dorco with the blade slightly loosened. This is a very cheap razor, by the way. I think you can get 2 of these for $6 shipped off eBay. So if you're looking for like a really nice, lightweight, simple travel razor that if you were to lose it, you wouldn't care about it at all, this is going to be a great option. Very good audible feedback. Yeah, that definitely feels different. A little bit more exposed blade than when you screw the handle all the way down. What I'll do is I'll screw it back for the second and third pass. How's that for a $3 adjustable? Definitely a noisy razor. So I'm, a little bit plasticky, which of course is no surprise because it's plastic. This is one of the dangers, by the way, of switching from one extreme to another from week to week. Last week was that fantastic Wolfman razor. So you have to be careful that in your mind you sort of put that behind you. And focus on this razor. Yeah, so for example, right there, that end cap tab actually makes getting into that fold of skin right here a little more difficult, because as you can see, there's a rather pronounced piece that sticks out, which makes it very hard to get in there. And if you look at the corner of the razor, it's really well protected by the end of the head design. So it makes getting, usually I use that corner of the razor to try to get you'll get the blade in there, and that's actually a little bit harder here. Yeah, that quarter turn definitely makes a difference in terms of the feel of the razor. All right, I'm going to rinse. I'm going to re-lather, and then I'm going to tighten up that razor head. Residual slickness on the soap, by the way, is really good. Like when you're wetting your face, you can really feel it. Really very nice and slick. I've simply pulled up some of the lather from the bottom of the brush, just pull that back up into the top. And like every other soap in the world, this of course has settled down from the first pass to the second. Yeah, it's just really interesting just to sort of see the range of products that people produce in terms of what's included. This soap, for example, I think has no coconut oil in it. Let me just pull some of that lather up, and then what I'll do for the third pass is I'll definitely reload again. There we go. That may look a little thin, but it is very nice and slick. I mean, if you need to really make it, if you wanted to sort of build up a bit more lather, you can certainly do so. See what's happening down here. There we go. The soap comes all the way from beautiful Calgary. All right, I'm going to tighten up the head. I'm just going to screw it all the way tight. Yeah, there we go. This is now its mild setting. All right, this is going to be a across the grain. Yeah, definitely a very distinct change in the face feel of that. On this setting, this feels a lot like shaving with a cartridge razor. Very, very mild. A lot of sort of blade control because there's little blade exposed. That's not a bad thing. There we go. Now just change directions a little bit to keep going across. There we go. Yeah, good slickness on this soap. No issues in terms of like friction or tugging. No roughness during the shave. Lather feels a bit different than many of the other lathers that I've used or some of the other soaps just because of the ingredients. This is kind of a very, kind of more on this real oily and fatty side. Now again, here across the grain, because of that cap cover, actually makes it a little bit harder to get into, and certainly for the parts right under my nose, not really easy. Because right there, the corner is not actually at the top where the hair grows. But we'll sort that out in just a moment. Yeah, because the blade is so curved and because of the structure of the head, trying to get into that particular tight spot, a little bit tough. So I have, at least for one day, which I normally really hate doing, is shaving directly up against the growth there under the nose, that never feels good. And there's a reason that, at least with the straight razor, that's called the fool's pass. Obviously, shaved razor is a completely different story, but all right, I'm going to load a little bit more soap from the container. I'm going to drip just a bit of water into it. I'm going to take my brush as is. Maybe another drop or two. And then we'll just continue to start working. Now, you can see that's starting to build a bit more of a more normal or more regularly expected lather. There we go. Try to scoop off what remains on the side. Just drip a tiny bit of water into the brush. And so as you keep using it throughout the course of the shave, soap continues to loosen up a little bit. You know, you've pre-soaked it and you just keep adding a bit of water and agitating it throughout the shave. As you can see, you can continue to get very nice, kind of light, creamy lather out of this. Okay, no issues there. This does take a bit of work. Like, you're going to have to sort of adapt to how the soap works. But if this soap works for you, then I think it's going to be a great pairing. Just don't be frustrated by those first couple shaves, because I think you do need to sort of let the soap have soaked a little bit and sort of broken through the very top layer, which is very dense. Every lather that I built this week has been better than the one before, so just bear that in mind. What I'm trying to tell you is don't give up so easy. All right, there we go. Last pass, this will be against the grain. There's going to be some buffing, I'm just going to warn you right now. Now, I've certainly gotten good shaves out of this razor. I've not had amazing shaves out of this razor. It's definitely taken a bit of work because, at least on this setting, it is very mild. And I have to confess, I've gotten a little bit spoiled by sort of the head geometry, the things like the two fat tips. Those Wolfman razors, I guess sort of medium aggressive based on the blade gap. I will say this feels very safe in use. This does feel very much like a cartridge. But with the advantage of being a double edge, obviously. And cheap as the dickens. So if you really are looking to be, DE shaving on a budget, it's items like this that I think really help out. Because this way of shaving just doesn't need to be expensive. I mean, if you've gone crazy like people like me and you just continue to spend and accumulate an absurd amount of items because it's fun to do, that's one thing. But in the scheme of things, none of that was necessary. Changing the angle here a little bit. The soak does make repeated passes over the same part of skin very easy because, in fact, it creates a very nice kind of, slightly oily, slick layer. As you can see, very nice in that regard. All right, now the mustache. Very light. For me, for most razors, when I do that, it is a very uncomfortable feeling and I just avoid doing it. There's really no point. All right, wow. See, so much buffing, so easy. That razor is really light on the face. Very, very comfortable, and obviously the trade-off there is efficiency of the razor. I'm going to just lather up briefly under here again and make one very quick light against the grain pass again to clean up a little bit. Pull some of the lather out of the brush. See, perfectly fine, very nice. There we go. All right, let me just dry off my hands. Yeah, 2+ days worth of growth. Really no issues there. Now this razor is also loud, so you need to just watch out for the fact that even though you can still hear something, you're not overcompensating for that by pressing or scrubbing. As I said, very comfortable, but not that efficient for me. This 4th cleanup pass has been basically a necessity every day. Now, of course, the fact that I love to shave means, well, so what, there's a 4th pass, big deal. But if you were rushing to get out of the house in the morning, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Flip side, you're talking about a $3 razor. So, for the money, very nice. All right, let's just do a little bit right there. Because we can. Yeah, when you rinse off the soap, very, very nice and slick. A nice layer left behind there, which again is a trade-off. Hard to rinse, but that means there's a good layer left behind. All right, let me try to clean up my ear a little bit. God, I just wiped it all over my face again. Well, that's the danger of one-handed rinsing sometimes. Let's get crazy and go for the advanced two-handed post one-handed rinse. Yeah, nice. Post-shave skin conditioning on this really has been very good. There we go. A bit there. Well, you know what? In the end, still getting a pretty good shave. It does take a bit more work, but in the end, that shave is still very, very clean, nice and close. Most importantly, very comfortable. Yeah, post-shave skin conditioning, very nice. Skin does not feel tight. No heat, no irritation. Even where my skin is a little bit inflamed, no issues really there. It doesn't feel hot or itchy right now. Wow, okay. Well, we're going to cap that off, my friends. We're going to cap that off with the opposite end of the scent spectrum. This is full strength, in your face, loud and proud. This is the Grand Chypre from my dear friends at Barrister and Mann. Denatured alcohol, witch hazel, a wonderful old school, very old school rose scent. It's always a very slight momentary tingle which dries down almost immediately. Combination of the ratio of the alcohol and the witch hazel just makes this just a delight to use. I love the scent. Scent is a little bit heady and kind of heavy. This is not like a light, what people would consider, I guess, a summery scent. It just has a beautiful old school heavy rose. Oh, just wonderful, beautiful, beautiful scent. Yeah, very nice. Okay, let's recap there in the interest of time. So number one, let's talk about the razor. It is the Dorco PL602, available in a 2-pack for $6, something like that. It comes with two of these blades included, Dorco blades made for Dorco in Vietnam. It is a 2-piece razor, very mild, very light. You just unscrew it, put the blade in the top cap and screw it back together. And there's a bit of an awkward moment when you have to sort of hold the two parts of the head together to get the thread movement going. Other than that, really no issues. The blade is extremely well protected in there. So you can see the end caps are completely covered, no issues there, but also the corners of the blades. And so that means that for some tight areas, at least for me, this is a bit harder to use and a bit harder to get really clean in those tight spots. A very mild razor that you can adjust by just turning the handle a quarter or half the turn all the way back. You will feel an immediate blade difference. That was pretty noticeable, actually. That mild setting works great for the last 2 passes. So that gives you a chance to kind of adjust the feel of the shave. Very mild, very comfortable, not that efficient. So if you're looking for a really quick, clean 2-pass shave, this may not be the razor for you. But if you're looking for a really cheap, kind of a toss-away travel razor, or just a really quick, very mild safety razor because you're starting off with DE shaving, this makes a very, very cheap entry into DE shaving, and I can definitely recommend it. A very nice option. The soap for today, it is the triple, actually 5 butter shaving soap from Prohibition Style. This was the sidecar scent. I'll show you well, you can sort of see what it looks like. It's still just, when I first got it, my initial impression was that the texture in some ways, it felt like Près de Provence. Just rinse my fingers again. The same kind of hard, a hard soap with like a very light, sort of a slippery texture to it. Overall, really enjoyed using the soap. You must certainly follow the instructions to pre-soak that soap before you use it. If you don't, I think you're going to find yourself quite frustrated by the way that it lathers. It does not feel the same as other traditional shaving soaps. The initial lather when you begin to load, as you saw, is a kind of a slightly thinner, a bit more of an oily, fattier coating to the brush, as opposed to sort of the volumes of lather you might normally expect. Keep at it. Add a bit of water, keep using your brush to build up the lather. As you saw for the second and third passes, that continues to build. And I suspect that the more you use that soap, the better and better sort of the volume of the initial lather is going to become. A very nice soap, actually slick, very easy to use. Post-shave skin conditioning, really quite nice. And as you saw, I did a lot of buffing in that last pass. No issues in terms of slickness or protection for the shave. Oh, my dear friend, how I love the Rodney Lignum Vitae boar brush. I've not had to soak this in cold water because this is already so massively and perfectly broken in. Just absolutely love this handle style. If I was going to go for another handle for like a future synthetic brush or something like that, it would 100% be in this same kind of style. Just a very nice classic shape, and maybe even go for another boar knot. I don't know. And to cap it off, that was pro level right there. This is Le Grand Chypre from Barrister and Mann. I'm getting there. That's what, maybe 2/3 gone. So that's going to have to be put back on the list to get at some point later. Well, I think that's it. Razor, soap, brush, aftershave. I think we've covered it all, my friends. Well, that was another wonderful, beautiful Sunday shave. Having to go through Saturday without shaving and makes my face itch like crazy. It's just 100% worth that because I know how good these shaves on Sundays are going to be. So thank you again all so much for watching. I really appreciate the time you're taking. And if you have questions or comments about this video or any of the previous videos, of course, please feel free to leave a comment or question. And I always try to get back to those as quickly as I can. Thank you again so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.